Ball holds a special place in my heart. At my peak as a player, my absolute best hero was Wrecking Ball, and on the final day of Overwatch 1's existence, hours before the server shut down, I hit my all-time peak of rank 167 on tank. In my final game of Overwatch 1, a small streamer known as Super, you might know him, was my tank duo, and he may have fat finger to shatter.
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
But on the other team, there was a player named Pelican, who in the future would simply go by the name Pella. And Pella has been around the North American Overwatch scene for a while, and has always specialized in playing Wrecking Ball. I played against him plenty of times in ranked, and he is someone that I respected a lot as a fellow ball player and tier 3 competitor. Fast forward a few years, and that same tier 3 player was locked in an intense 7-map grand final series. One map went away from winning the tier 2 division, Face It League Masters. Pella, as a player, still specializes in ball, but Overwatch has since moved on from the era of ball compositions that dominated the final few years of Overwatch 1's lifespan. This level of commitment to ball is impressive on its own, but on Ilios, the 7th and final map of this series, Pella was able to demonstrate what a skilled ball player is truly capable of. Dreamland and Young and Beautiful are the two teams that managed to reach the grand finals of Face It League NA during Stage 2 of the OWCS season, and they are pretty evenly matched. When you get a series this long and drawn out, things get a little weird with bans. You can only ban a hero once the entire match, so over time you run out of a lot of your valuable bans. But both of these teams actually did an impressive job of holding on to some pretty solid bans for the 7th map. Dreamland's ban of choice is Hazard. Now, when banning here on Ilios, Dreamland are looking to enable Pella's ball and generally make the ball composition more effective. Unfortunately, Dreamland had already expended two of their most valuable ball counter bans, Cassidy on map number 4 and Diva on map number 6, so that leaves few options. You might think that banning Sombra is a good idea, but it's definitely not, since Sombra is relatively unproblematic for ball as long as he has a Tracer alongside him. And guess what? Young and Beautiful already expended their Tracer ban on map number 2. So no matter what, Dreamland know they will have Tracer this map. My past two videos talk a good bit about why Sombra won't be used against Tracer, if any of this is confusing. Dreamland took all of this into account and decided to go for a decent ban onto Hazard. Hazard compositions are alright against ball compositions. Hazard compositions are often used as an answer to ball compositions when a team can't play Diva. On the previous map, Watchpoint Gibraltar, Diva was banned by Dreamland, and Young and Beautiful actually won against the ball using Hazard. I don't believe this is the most impactful ban that Dreamland could have used here, but it definitely wasn't a bad ban either. On the other side, the responding ban from Young and Beautiful was Ana. This is an excellent ban to have, especially against the ball composition on a map like Ilios. The classic Crazy Raccoon backline with the ball composition on Ilios is actually just Ana Lucio. The best ball team in the world, Crazy Raccoon, absolutely loves to play Ana with the ball, and what ball compositions struggle with the most is finishing kills, so Ana's antis are a bit of a cheat code that allow the ball tracer frontline to obtain final blows that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. The first submap just so happens to be the most difficult of the three for Dreamland, that being Ilios Runes. That's because Runes is a bit harder for the ball composition, or just dive compositions in general. There are longer sightlines that make it so that if you want to go for a slam on ball, as an example, your opponent will be able to see you and poke you out for a longer period of time, making dives more dangerous and difficult to execute. The lack of high ground positions, especially surrounding the point, also hurts dive compositions. So that's a little unlucky for Dreamland, but they just roll out on a Ramatra Brawl composition to start the map. This was going to be a problem though, because Young and Beautiful are a little ahead of the curve in terms of Brawl compositions, and they have the upper hand in this mirror. There are plenty of differences between these two compositions, but one difference in particular stands out, and also changes the game significantly, that being the flex DPS role. Dreamland are running Tracer, and this was a pretty popular default up until recently. Essentially, every half-competent flex DPS player in the world can play Tracer, because she is historically the strongest flex DPS hero in the game. Meanwhile, on the side of Young and Beautiful, you have Alex on Symmetra, and this is where we need to talk about recent meta developments. The EMEA region, consisting of Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa, was the region that defined the meta throughout Stage 2 of the OWCS. Al-Qudsiya and Twisted Minds, two of the top 3 teams, both worked to perfect their Symmetra compositions, and they eventually reached the point where they could both completely outmaneuver their closest competitor, Virtus Pro, who had won the previous stage. North America and Korea at this time hadn't fully realized the potential of Symmetra, but in EMEA, some teams, especially Virtus Pro, were realizing that they couldn't really win against Symmetra. They can only do their best to mirror the Symmetra and go from there. And now, at the time of writing this video, our understanding is that Symmetra completely defines the meta, and is, at least for top teams, a must-pick a lot of the time. This may or may not be the case at the time of publishing during Season 18 though, so keep that in mind. Now, this match we are covering today is from NA Faceit League, which is the Tier 2 division below the OWCS. Obviously pretty far removed from the top levels of EMEA, but Young and Beautiful were studying the region carefully, and they made the decision to switch over to playing the Symmetra variations prior to the playoffs. Now that you have some context, you might be able to see why Dreamland are in a bit of a rough spot here. The Symmetra is just better than the Tracer, and it's not like Dreamland can mirror on the spot, because not every flex DPS player can play Symmetra. Hell, not every team is good at playing around Symmetra. It takes a lot of work to get everyone on the same page to make use of Sim effectively, especially the teleporters. Now, Symmetra is at her absolute best when she's used against an opposing Brawl composition. Right now, Dreamland are mirroring Brawl, but after losing Talisman early to a Kunai from Icy Sniper, and after Dreamland have some time to assess the situation, they decide to head back to spawn to make a swap. Pela goes from Ramatra over to his specialty, Ball. This map does admittedly pose challenges to Ball, but when you have a Ball specialist and you can't mirror Symmetra in the Brawl mirror, this really can't be considered a bad decision. Now, Hanbei is on Baptiste, which is a little weird for a Ball composition, but think of Baptiste as a bit of a downgraded Ana. Better mobility and decent DPS output, but definitely doesn't bring the same level of aggressive utility to the table that Ana can. The goal of the front line of Dreamland, the Ball Tracer, is to clear the more open sections of the map and essentially box Young and Beautiful into the enclosed lane that you can see Alex's Symmetra currently standing inside of. Ball compositions specialize in taking very extreme angles, and to win fights, Ball compositions absolutely need control of a larger portion of the map than their opponent and almost surround their opponent. Instead of going for Alex's Symmetra inside of the enclosed lane, Pela rotates wide on the open lane and looks to hunt for any players on the side of Young and Beautiful that aren't boxed in the enclosed lane. In this case, that would be Juice's Freya, who was sitting up on the high ground. Pela moves up to threaten and clear Juice, and this is successful, and Juice retreats to the enclosed lane. This leaves all 5 members of Young and Beautiful pretty much stacked in this one lane on the map. Although Alex is able to finish off Narwhal's Lucio, Dreamland have already fulfilled their primary win condition, and so Young and Beautiful are quickly overwhelmed. Pela is able to go for a huge slam onto the stacked core of Young and Beautiful, and then afterwards was able to finish off Icy Sniper's Kiriko, and then slam Alex's Symmetra, with Narwhal and Lucio following up for the kill. Dreamland are able to retake the point, leaving Young and Beautiful with 51%. Now, this variation of the Ball composition does have a pretty big weakness, that being Hanbei's Baptiste. A relatively easy win condition that Young and Beautiful can play for is they can hunt Hanbei's Baptiste for sport. If the Baptiste is dead, one of the primary forms of damage and healing for Dreamland is gone, and the Bap is quite vulnerable, so that's quite doable. Ball frontlines aren't exactly known for their ability to peel, and Dreamland are running a somewhat greedy Bap Lucio backline, with the Lucio pushing forward to help the frontline. TLDR, Hanbei on Baptiste is kind of on his own a lot of the time, and is a primary target for Young and Beautiful. All that being said, Young and Beautiful makes some adjustments. Alex moves from Symmetra over to Tracer, and then AST Design swaps from Orisa over to D.Va. In the previous fight, AST Design was practically a sitting duck on Orisa. He couldn't easily chase the Baptiste, and there wasn't much he could do other than act as an anchor on the point while the Ball composition surrounded his team. On D.Va, it is more viable for AST Design to play to punish Hanbei's Baptiste and potentially create an opening against the Ball comp. Understanding your opponent's win condition is crucial and can allow you to react to your opponent's plays because you're expecting them to happen. Dreamland understand that the D.Va Tracer swaps alter the pace of Young and Beautiful's composition and will place Hanbei at risk, and by understanding this win con and expecting it, Dreamland are able to react to the D.Va effectively. Young and Beautiful decide to play first this fight, initiating with AST Design's D.Va practically inting with boosters onto Hanbei's Baptiste. Dreamland anticipate this, and Hanbei uses his window defensively. Every member of Dreamland, besides Pela's Ball, turn to look at AST Design's D.Va in this moment. Manuele's Freya, Narwhal's Lucio, and even Talisman's Tracer work together to practically delete AST Design's mech before he could reach Hanbei's Baptiste. What Dreamland did here is they played second. They allowed Young and Beautiful to make their move, and Dreamland reacted to that play decisively. Playing second with Baptiste's window can be particularly effective because you wait until your opponent commits, and then you pop the window. This means that your opponent can't kite the window since they've used their cooldowns to engage. The moment AST Design used his boosters, that was the trigger for Hanbei to drop that window and punish. Now, Pela may not have directly helped with punishing Design's Diva, but that was only because he was focused on forcing cooldowns out of Young and Beautiful and distracting the backline, particularly looking to place pressure on Juice's Freya. As Young and Beautiful walked forward with their Kitsune, Pela wrapped around from behind and grappled to roll up at the perfect trajectory to hit the Freya. Pela pops his shields and shoots Juice point blank range, and then looks to slam on the way down to secure the kill. Icy Sniper's Kiriko arrived just in time to save Juice, having to TP in and then use the Suzu. Although Pela didn't obtain the kill, it was absolutely a solid play that forced some of Young and Beautiful's most valuable CDs. Young and Beautiful still decide they want to commit to this fight, going as far as using Neptune's beat aggressively to continue pushing forward to hunt Hanbei's Baptiste down. They're successful in doing so before Narwhal can build his own beat, so Young and Beautiful do manage to fulfill their win condition this fight, but their only problem is that winning this fight costs them their two most valuable ultimates, their Kitsune and Beat, alongside Juice's Bullet Shot. This leaves Dreamland at quite the advantage for the next fight, with their two strongest ultimates, Minefield and Beat, to work with. We can refocus on Pela's ball now since he will be the initiator this fight. Pela decides to play first, throwing his Minefield into the center of the map on the point. This might seem like an aggressive play, but it is actually more of a zoning ultimate. If Young and Beautiful's win condition is generally to hunt down Hanbei's Baptiste, you can shut that down by placing a minefield directly in the way. Granted, this likely won't win the fight, only prolong the time until Hanbei can be dove, but that extra time is key. The longer a fight goes on, the better it is for Dreamland's ball composition, since they can execute more hits through their angles. This zoning minefield just gives them extra time to do that. After the mines go down, Pela works to clear Alex's Tracer, and in the process is able to boop AST Design into the minefield, almost managing to knock him out of mech. AST Design does manage to survive, but Young and Beautiful are forced to cower inside of the enclosed lane, waiting for their HP and CDs to return. Hanbei uses this time to wrap around the left side to help clear Young and Beautiful's Lucio Tracer split, and Hanbei was actually able to find Alex's Tracer as well as finish off Neptune's Lucio. That entire fight, AST Design was not given a singular chance to dive Hanbei, and that had a lot to do with Pela's opening play. Dreamland won the fight off of that singular ultimate, with a great bank to work with for the next fight. Rather than using the beat defensively, Dreamland decide to posture forward and go for a very early slam alongside the beat. Talisman's Tracer is set up close to Young and Beautiful's spawn on the right side, and when he spots Neptune's Lucio, he attacks, managing to get him relatively low. Pela on ball is there to help him finish the kill, halting Neptune with his slam, and Neptune just barely manages to survive due to some incredible DM work from AST Design. But Hanbei's Baptiste, who pushed forward with the rest of Dreamland, was able to finish him off anyways. To enable this whole engage, Narwhal had of course used his beat, and it was really important that Hanbei set up close here. For a ball composition to be played at its full potential, every member has to be able to follow up on the ball Tracer engages. That includes Hanbei on the Baptiste and manually on the Freya, who are the primary sources of ranged damage. The only way for Pela and Talisman to go for such an early hit is if Hanbei and manually also posture forward in turn. This fight allows Dreamland to secure the first submap.
You need them to be able to get you in the fight with this rush and with this pulse bomb.
But an unmatched sound barrier.
There's a rush.
There's so much they can work with this. They don't want to rush while the sound barrier's up. They're trying to get this to some point that they can push, but because of how far up they are, you had to send Alex to contest the points. You're already fighting a 4v5, which got a whole lot worse. He didn't check a corner. The pulse bombs, Talisman DMX the Diva, and Dreamland 1 round away from getting this point. But in Ruins, this is the one they were supposed to win.
If you're enjoying this video and want to see more, the most that you can do is leave a comment and subscribe. Engagement helps me a ton, and the support means so much. Consider becoming a member to support me in making these videos, and make sure to check out my Twitch where I co-stream OWCS matches live. On Twitch, you can literally bet creature points on matches. It's great. There's nothing better than that. Participate in the creature economy today. Creature wants you. The second submap is Ilios Well, and here, to start, Young and Beautiful try running the anti-ball DPS lineup, Cass plus Tracer, and play to pocket the Cassidy with D.Va. This is a bit of a classic strategy and can work against the ball composition, but it does have some weaknesses and changes the win condition of Young and Beautiful's composition. Juice on Cass doesn't have the vertical mobility that Freya does, so Juice won't be able to reach Hanbei's Baptiste easily. Originally, Young and Beautiful's win condition was to hunt Hanbei's Baptiste, but now what they're going to try and do is rotate around the map, clearing Dreamland's angles around the point so that they can force control. They do this while pocketing Juice's Cass, their main source of damage. Pella on ball needs to be careful. If he tries to slam too quickly, he will explode just as quickly at the hands of Juice's Cass. Pella swings up to scout Young and Beautiful's rotation and starts by rolling through AST Design's D.Va to do a bit of damage with low risk to himself. When AST Design rotates up to the high ground, Pella attempts to roll through but doesn't get the angle, and then when he goes to slam the lone D.Va, Juice's Cast finishes rotating through the windmill and Pella lands a pretty direct slam onto him. As expected, Juice gets pocketed like crazy, with Icy Sniper's Kiriko coming in with the TP and Suzu to keep Juice up. Juice uses the Flash and Fan the Hammer combo to chunk Pella's HP, and so Hanbei uses his Immortality to try and help Pella get out, and he does manage to. As planned, Young and Beautiful force the point and begin to gain percentage. They have to continue to rotate through so that they can clear Dreamland's angles and avoid becoming surrounded. Pella uses this as an opportunity to go for another slam onto Juice's Cass, and it forces AST Design to use Defense Matrix, but doesn't really get anything else. Young and Beautiful are looking to rotate into Cage, so Pella will have another chance very soon. Pella does get marked a bit by Alex's Tracer, but he's still able to swing up and slam. It was a bit of a miss, but Pella makes up for that by rolling inside of the cage itself to catch Alex's Tracer, who was so close to getting that mini pack, but was completely denied. A moment earlier, Talisman was able to finish off Juice's Cassidy, so Young and Beautiful were left without a DPS line and without their most valuable asset, Cassidy. So Dreamland were able to win the fight in the long run. Young and Beautiful decide that the Cassidy pocket win condition isn't for them, and they swap back over to the Freya version of their composition that was more adept at hunting down Hanbei's Baptiste. They had some success with the Cass anti-ball comp, but that playstyle is admittedly a bit tough on this submap with all the high ground positions that Cassidy simply cannot reach. Focusing back in on Pella, he and Talisman decide to go for an early hit, split from the rest of their team. This is a bit risky, but Pella lands a solid slam onto Juice's Freya and manages to force the Suzu out of Icy Sniper. A good opening to this fight. Pella wraps around from the back and manages to slam Juice a second time, but he just isn't able to secure that final blow with Young and Beautiful's Kitsune on the field. To try and stall for time, Pella drops the mines while the point is at 40%, and he manages to stall Young and Beautiful for quite a bit, until the 54% mark. I think it's debatable whether or not using mines for 14% of the point is worthwhile, but at least it got some value. I'd say it wasn't entirely worth it, but the idea was there, and if they got 10% more out of that, it might have been more worthwhile. We were locked into Pella's POV there, but what happened that fight was Icy Sniper used his Kitsune to most literally rocket AST Design's D.Va directly at Manuely's Freya. Normally, AST Design would prioritize killing Hanbei, but Manuely isn't a bad target either. This play worked really well for Young and Beautiful, and AST Design was still able to find Hanbei at the end. This kind of a fast and deadly engage is what Young and Beautiful are looking for with their composition. For the next fight, Dreamland rotate on top of the windmill, and AST Design goes for another aggressive engage. This time, Young and Beautiful use their beat to close the distance, while Hanbei uses his window second to try and buy some time to rotate away. AST Design keeps up his chase though, managing to force the immortality out of Hanbei and using his D.Va bomb to try and remake. Dreamland go down early in this fight with Neptune's boop onto the opposing Lucio Narwhal that sent him flying off the map. Narwhal still got the beat off though, which is really funny. Like, I think Narwhal just barely clipped the railing, allowing the beat to drop, but he still flew off the map anyway. This was honestly so close to being an Ajax. Pella does his best to help Dreamland trade. He slams Icy Sniper's Kiriko, and this allows Talisman to blink in and find an easy double, finishing off Design in the Baby D.Va form, and then Icy Sniper, who was already low. Alex on the side of Young and Beautiful finds his own trades though, taking out Manuely's Freya and Hanbei's Baptiste. He then chases after Talisman's Tracer, taking him down after he whiffed his Pulse Bomb. Young and Beautiful stay in control. Dreamland have one more shot, but it doesn't go all that well. AST Design engages first yet again onto Manuely's Freya, and using this opportunity, Juice hits Manuely with the mid-air triple direct to secure the kill. And, you know, Juice also directs Narwhal from a long range if that wasn't enough, so that was just an absolutely insane mechanical play. There is not much that Pela could have done there to prevent that on the ball. Pela opened up this fight by forcing the TP out of Icy Sniper's Kiriko, and then he did actually manage to pressure Juice with a slam, but the damage had already been done. Maybe, with slightly better timing, Pela could have pressured Juice just as Dreamland were rotating, but honestly, Pela was already active pressuring Icy Sniper, so I don't think the execution here was the absolute worst from Dreamland. It wasn't like Pela was completely inactive while Dreamland were on the move. Either way, this 7-map series would have to be decided on the third and final submap, Ilios Lighthouse.
With Talisman going down, that should just about do it. We are going to finish our series in 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, absolute cinema on our hands. Map 7, round 3 on Lighthouse. Here we go.
For this final round, Dreamland adjust their composition slightly to create a more resilient backline, moving Narwhal from Lucio over to Brig to help defend Hanbei's Baptiste. This does make the backline more survivable, but in return, the frontline will be weakened without the added support of the Lucio, who could play aggressively. Both teams roll out and begin to fight for control over the roof of the lighthouse. Pela is able to flank and catch Alex's Tracer off guard, slamming to obtain a perfect early kill. What's great here is that Pela understands that, at least in the early stages of this fight, it's better to fight over the lighthouse rather than directly hit the backline of Young and Beautiful. The decision to slam the Diva Tracer frontline instead of the backline is absolutely the correct one. This early kill forces a soft reset out of Young and Beautiful and results in a point cap for Dreamland. Pela scouts up in the air and then rolls through Design's Diva to mark. Design backs off and then rotates through the Mega Room to try and find another path to point. Pela, understanding that Young and Beautiful's backline are still out of range for an effective slam, decided to mark and slam Design again, forcing him back. Young and Beautiful recover and finally make their rotation to the point, and Pela is able to look for a slam. He rolls through and then assesses his options. He turns to see a Freya ping on the flank, and he's left with a tough decision. Pela can either try and stop Young and Beautiful from flipping the point and attack there, or he can chase after Juice's Freya, who's on the flank. Unfortunately, I feel that Pela probably made the wrong decision here and decided to fight over the point. He turns away and then grapples to slam on point. His slam nearly hit Neptune's Lucio, but Icy Sniper's Suzu came just at the right moment. Pela tried to secure that kill on Neptune, but he was pocketed enough to live through all of the damage. While Dreamland's frontline struggled to secure a kill, Dreamland's backline was having an even worse time. Juice's Freya was on a flank behind, and ASD Design absolutely hunted down Hanbei, who had to drop off the high ground due to the pressure from the Freya. Alex finished that kill, and Young and Beautiful yet again managed to fulfill their win condition of hunting the Baptiste, even with Brigitte in the picture. Dreamland reset, and Pela sets up on the flank for the next fight. Timing is important here. Pela moves onto the point to force attention just as the rest of Dreamland rotate in. Once Pela gains the attention of Alex's Tracer, he nopes out of there for a slam onto the backline. This hit clears Young and Beautiful completely off of the high ground and allows Dreamland to continue pushing forward. Pela swings above the lighthouse to look for a slam and takes the opportunity to hit Icy Sniper's Kiriko, who ventured outside of the confines of the point. This slam forces Kiri TP and also draws the attention of the rest of Young and Beautiful. Neptune's Lucio boops Pela, but he swings back up unfazed. With some solid tracking, Pela deals some good damage to Juice and nearly secures the kill with a slam that Juice only barely escapes from. Dreamland needs something to happen soon, some sort of a kill or at least a flip on the point, and Pela tries to make that happen with his mines. Neptune accidentally runs into one of the mines, but does manage to escape with his life. Pela rolls to boop Icy Sniper off the map, but he still lives with TP anyways. Icy Sniper is honestly just a fly that Pela can't seem to swat. He's constantly there with the Suzus and is always able to live with TP. The CD usage is honestly pretty impressive. Dreamland are in rough shape. They can't seem to finish a kill, and that wouldn't get any easier with Hanbei put out of commission by Juice's Freya on the flank. Narwhal and Brig did try and push forward with the rally to help Brawl on point, but he was quickly overwhelmed and booped off the map by AST Design. Dreamland, with their Bap-Brig backline, have a bit of a nothing ever happens problem, and they're going to need to fix that to win this series. This is actually a great practical example that shows why we play ball compositions with Ana in the modern day, and why we used to play them with Zen. We still do sometimes, but not often. Anti-Nade and Discord Orb are almost necessary to finish kills in ball compositions. Baptiste does do damage, but he doesn't have that aggressive utility and deadliness that Ana and Zenyatta do, and that makes a huge difference. With Zenyatta, because he is so aggressive, as well as weak to dives, he's typically paired with Brig, and it balances out. With Ana, on the other hand, she is more self-sufficient, but a bit less deadly compared to Zen, so she's played with Lucio, who will switch between helping her and helping the frontline finish kills. The more balanced nature of Ana Lucio lends itself well to 5v5, thus the preference over Zen Brig. The next fight, Dreamland unfortunately stayed very committed to their BAP Brig, and that did not pay off. Young and Beautiful played it first with a very aggressive hit to try and take down Hanbei. Alex lands a beautiful pulse onto Narwhal's Brig, but he lives with the help of Hanbei's immortality. Hanbei tried to drop the window to defend against the hit, but Young and Beautiful got what they wanted, with Juice's Freya finishing the kills on both of the backline targets. Dreamland would be completely cooked at this point if it weren't for Pela, because he saw the situation and decided against trying to peel, instead opting to flip the point in favor of Dreamland while all of Young and Beautiful were committed to their dive. The flip stalled Young and Beautiful's capture progress at 78%, buying enough time for Dreamland to take one more fight. Pela also landed a nice slam on Young and Beautiful while they were rotating back to point to retake, and this slam and roll through would help Pela build up towards his mines. Dreamland desperately need ults, so any extra charge is worthwhile. Pela stalls a bit and builds up to 60% ult charge, opting to die on point to buy time for respawn since he'll get back fast on ball anyways. In a key decision, Dreamland's backline decide to completely switch it up, going over to Kiriko Lucio. This backline still doesn't have the kill potential of a Zen or Ana backline, but the fact is that Zen isn't great right now and Ana's banned, so running a Kiri Lucio backline that can full commit with the frontline is the best option that Dreamland have in this moment. Young and Beautiful's capture progress is at 90%, so Dreamland will have to move fast. Everything is against them in this fight. Dreamland have no support ultimates, meanwhile Young and Beautiful are close to building both their Kitsune and Beat. Those two ultimates should be more than enough for Young and Beautiful to win this fight by default, so Dreamland are in trouble. Pela makes a bold move, deciding to go for a play that every ball player would dream of making in such an important moment. Pela flings himself up into the sky towards the point, making use of the window on the roof of the Lighthouse that, under most circumstances, is completely cosmetic, to slam directly onto the point. This slam catches Neptune's Lucio, and this time Talisman and Pela were able to work together to properly finish the kill. For once, Icy Sniper missed the Suzu, and then Pela gets his revenge for all those previous Suzus by sending Icy Sniper flying off the map. And with that, Pela solved the support ult problem. Young and Beautiful can't use their support ults if their supports are dead. The fight is scrappy, but Dreamland have a clear advantage. Pela rolls through to remove ASD Design from his mech, and he's able to avoid the Diva Bomb in a little corner on the point. If the Diva Bomb had just a little bit more of a central position, it could have actually forced Dreamland off the point, and maybe won the map, but that didn't happen. ASD Design dies before he could remech, and his Diva Bomb goes to complete waste. Dreamland retake the point, avoiding disaster. Dreamland are still at a disadvantage. Young and Beautiful now have their Kitsune and Beat, and Pela is going to have to try and use his mines to slow them down and buy time. Pela looks to slam the rotation, but he's a bit early and doesn't land it. He loops back around though to look at Alex's Tracer, who is forcing point, and with the help of Talisman's Tracer, is actually able to punish and pick off Alex early. This was absolutely huge for Dreamland. They'll take any advantage they can get. Young and Beautiful rotate in, and Pela immediately drops the mines on the point to zone. These place Neptune in an awkward position, but he does manage to slip away intact. Young and Beautiful can't force the point due to the mines, so instead, Neptune uses his beat aggressively, and Young and Beautiful look for kills. Pela slams Neptune, and the rest of Dreamland follow up perfectly. Manually lands the bullet shot, and Young and Beautiful are left without their Lucio. Pela rolls in, forces the Kiri TP, and then pressures Juice, grappling up into the air to finish him off. Young and Beautiful are still committed to winning this fight. They have to, it's approaching 99-99 overtime. Icy Sniper drops the Kitsune on the point, and AST Design manages to kill both Manuely's Freya, as well as Hanbei's Kiriko. When Neptune takes out Talisman on Tracer, things start to look bad for Dreamland, but Pela is still in it. Pela rolls through AST Design and focuses him down as quickly as he can. It takes a moment, and a bit of help from Narwhal's Lucio, but AST Design is demech'd. Pela quickly grapples directly up and pulls himself so that he can slam on the point. This directly hits Neptune's Lucio, and then Pela leaves the confines of the point to send Neptune flying off the map, a key trade for Dreamland. Pela wraps back into the Lighthouse and focuses down AST Design in Baby Diva form. Narwhal finishes that kill, and because Narwhal had managed to live for so long, he was able to drop the beat to keep himself and Pela sustained on the point. Pela grapples up to slam again, this time catching Alex's Tracer and taking him down. Another important kill for Dreamland. Pela turns to face Juice on Sombra, who came back to contest, booping him into the corner and sending him right back to spawn. And after Pela's final turn to help kill Icy Sniper, Dreamland had done it. They took the Faceit League Grand Finals and would move on to the OWCS promotion relegation with the higher seed.
Pela goes for a touch there. There was a short flip for Dreamland, which gives them a bit of room to work with for a final touch.
Fingertips on the trophy for Young and Beautiful. Look how much closer the support ults are. The longer the fight goes, the more winnable it should be for Young and Beautiful.
I was gonna force card here. We just need to live up Pela forces card. Look for the hit on immediately. Missed the boa.
Shades of
Pela
PDK.
kills support. Narwhal's running it down. Just get pooped off the map.
Neptune only catches 3, but can they find any kills? Icy Sniper with the Kitsune Rush TP's back. Neptune's gonna die to that bowler.
Gets on point, but the Mindwave's still there.
Oh, the boss
Manually died.
Oh, Icy Sniper.
Wait, Manuel's dead. Manuel's dead.
Hunt kill Sniper. Pela misses. Oh my god, it might be over.
The teammate comes through, Narwhal is low, desperate for his kill. Pela's still swinging around. Pela's got the boop onto Neptuno. Junon coming back from Icy Sniper, gonna kill the baby as well. Dreamland, the beat, the finisher, the slam. Pela's gonna get it all done. Pela with an inexplicable clutch after clutch here on Lighthouse. And Dreamland, unbelievably, they are back in it. They are your Faceit Masters playoff champion.
Narwhal's one.
Pela keeps him off the map.
Narwhal. Did he get it? Did he get it?
And he's
Okay,
on
we
one
gotta kill
point.
Narwhal. We gotta kill Narwhal.
He already got the boot. He got the boot. Narwhal's one.
Oh, gets a bit of point.
We have boot. We have boot.
Oh, it's over. It's over. It's
This is one. Oh my god,
It's
the
over.
big Juno.
It's over.
Oh, Pela, you're the goat.
Holy shit. Wait, the boop off the map. The boop off the map. We're balling. We're balling. Holy shit. Oh, the slam the Tracer. Pela's in here. Pela to the rescue. There you go. Dreamland. And a 7-map series. Holy shit.
This was a pretty awesome way to end off the competition in Tier 2 for Stage 2. As time has gone on, Faceit League has only grown more entertaining to watch, and I'm glad we got to see such a great grand final on the NA side. Honestly, the whole bracket was an entertaining watch. So many close games, and this was the same tournament where Shikigami Midori managed to play only map 5s their entire way through the bracket, so we got to see some insane stuff. Dreamland would go on to lose their important final qualification match to the OWCS, getting taken down by none other than the Dilducks 3-0, which was actually featured in my previous video. It was a disappointing loss, especially after beating Dilducks previously in the upper bracket, but it is what it is. I do kind of wish they made it though. Dreamland really did work hard for it. And that's it for this one. I tried to explain generally how the different compositions worked, and I think this is also a pretty solid introduction to win cons. When the win conditions for compositions are super clear like the ones in today's matchup, they can be easier to understand, so I'm happy with how I got to explain those today. Also, quick shout out to my editor Reeve. They are the one doing a lot of the work behind the scenes on these videos nowadays. I used to edit everything myself, but it has been great having them on the team, and they have far surpassed my personal editing skills. So big shout outs to Reeve, and if you like the editing, make sure to let them know in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed this one, and thank you so much for watching and supporting me, and I'll see y'all next time.